All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, how are people misusing the incorporated city of Elk Grove, and how, in my particular situation, how have they orchestrated my quote unquote hell? And I'm able to articulate it, and that means that it's not true. That means that they are lying, and that means that we can save the world if we learn how to articulate what the definition of incorporate means. Incorporated. So what I mean is that if we get this city together and we fix the ecosystem, the environment, and the air, and we can package that and send it to every incorporated city so that way they learn how we did it, that could save the world, or it could create it's a very powerful force for good. Now, in my particular situation, in my case, how are they preventing me being, from doing what I need to do through this narrative that they have on me? So my grandfather, because of his Mexican heritage, they could either say that he's either weak and homosexual, or he was a very bad guy that did bad things to people. And those are the two narratives that they put on me because of my Mexican heritage. And then they say, with the dynamics of drug dealing and the factors of the environment, it's very easy for them to spin up a story. And that story, ladies and gentlemen, is just like a drama, like a TV show, like a soap opera. And that is what is responsible for all these high-rise buildings and all these skyscrapers that really only come from one person's desire to build it. And they enslave everybody that has to work there. And basically, they give everybody a job. And then to them, they think that they are fulfilling their purpose. They think they are good people because they give people jobs. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is not the case. And also, this is not to insult, but this is to diagnose. So basically, that narrative that they're running off of the Mexican people, so they're saying that the Mexicans are drug dealers and they dismember people, and they're trying to label that as Mexicans to our people, and that's not true. So in my particular case, this is an overwhelming narrative. It's so overwhelming in my life that I cannot, that to the outside looking in, you would think, Joey, all you have to do is work out, do this, do that, and then dude, you're set. But in my particular point of view and perspective, you have to understand that they could make it a dream reality for every other body type, right? Or everybody else. But it has to fit, how you say, the incorporated city has to serve every single body type and cannot leave no body behind. Cannot leave old people, middle-aged people, or children behind. So the incorporated city has an impossible task, the people that are living in it, like myself. And that is basically to make everybody, to establish, like, to prove that peace is possible, to prove that paradise is real. So, ladies and gentlemen, that narrative is what they're using, and it's the people that are believing it. The question is this: why are the people believing it? Because normally we don't. Normally we work hard for a genuine education. Normally we work hard. Normally we keep our hygiene. Normally we value a genuine education. We value campfire songs, telling stories by the campfire, and stories that were handed down. We value that. Now, there are stories today that are being told, that are being handed down, that do not come from the past. They don't come from an original source. And that is what is enslaving us, the Mexican population, because we work hard. We work hard, and we're listening to these false stories. And just imagine what they had to do to make us listen to these false stories. So anyways, we forgot what a genuine education is, and now we just work hard. And then that's what led to the skyscrapers being built, all of them. And then now that we work hard and we don't have a genuine education, now you see that our mentalities, the psychologies, are not of a male or a female anymore. People are identifying themselves with beings that do not exist, that are a figment of people's imagination, and they're gonna work to make that a reality. So we have to help them try to understand, to change their mind, try to help them understand that we don't need high-rise, buildings taller than 10 stories, to make them understand that we are all in this together, even though they don't believe it, even though they are like downtrodden, or maybe they consider themselves the winner of, like, the beneficiary, or they consider themselves higher than everybody else, right? And that's what's hard, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard to talk and change their mind. So therefore, this incorporated city of Elk Grove, that's a motive for the incorporation, because without that, we wouldn't survive. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, it's this overwhelming narrative that they have on me, that they know, like the people at Monterey Trail High School, they know that I'm Mexican, and they know the narrative that the Mexican people have of drug violence, cartels, that, okay? And then they tried to paint the narrative of the Americans as, like, their drug dealing is different, their prison time is different, their everything is better, you see? And what's crazy, ladies and gentlemen, that makes them not human, is that they know what I was going through. They know my psychology, the psychology that I had to conquer and overcome, and yet they try to scare me with dismemberment. They try to scare me with death, and they try to scare me with prison. And they try to get me to say that, they try to get me to value drug dealing. And what does that do to everybody else that looks up to me? They think that they are one step ahead of me, and at the end of the day, they're walking off of a cliff. Because I don't, it's very important that you understand that I don't fake. When I bite my nails, I'm not faking that. I really have a nervous, since a child, I've been nervous, and I've been biting my nails. And that's something that I understand that my aunt told me not to do. Obviously, because it's not a good habit. It's a disgusting habit. But I can't stop. This overwhelming narrative has me constantly nervous, and I try to self-medicate. What's worse is that they rub it in. They rub in the dismemberments. They rub in the violence of the drug cartels. They rub in the mothers that lose their children, and they blame me for it. So I have to prove to them. When at Rio Consunas Correctional Center, they put me at bunk 57, they know I associate that number with the 5.7 round that goes through, it's a armor-piercing round. They know that in my mind, I was scared that they are framing me. So I had to prove to them that I didn't kill a police officer. I have to prove to them. And at the end of the day, they're going to want it to come back full circle, and they're going to want me to do exactly that. So thank God, ladies and gentlemen, for the YouTube channel and this platform. Never before in human history have we been able to communicate in this way. So you have to think critically, and don't let yourself be disenfranchised Don't let them take away your recollection skills, your metacognitive skills, critical thinking. This is survival, ladies and gentlemen, and people are making this a game. People are extremely evil. Taking child soldiers and rubbing in the dismemberment, rubbing in the fear. And today, they want to make the child soldiers of today in America, the spoiled brats, kids. You're destroying the world, and you think that you're doing good. I know your mentality. I know your psychology, because I went to school with you. And when you were rubbing it in when you were a child, when you were under 18. Now that you're older, you are the one that is suspect of doing all this dismembering because you want to solidify that reality. It's almost like they were training you to do that. You always had me at a lower level than you with this narrative of dismemberment, narrative of drug dealing, cartel violence, dramas. That's why this city, ladies and gentlemen, was built. The city was incorporated. So we're understanding what happened in the 1500s. We're understanding what happened in the 15th century. You know, like in all of human existence, this is what Ken Wheeler means when he says that he is like a diehard truth seeker, like he's a hardcore metaphysician. So I can't, again, ladies and gentlemen, these people are not human beings. There was a Hindu girl named Neha at Monterey Trail High School, and she was always surrounded by taller black and brown females at in her female basketball team. Almost like I can't even explain it, just like flies. I'll never forget what happened. I'll never forget the tactics that they used. So, ladies and gentlemen, you probably are not going to survive this. I'm probably not going to. If I survive this, I don't know. I don't know. I can't say that I can't say that I'm surviving because they are the dominant. Like they're just the same way that I'm saying that Malone Brown just has to, like, how you say, we can't do nothing to him because, like, it's almost like we couldn't believe how these people think. So it was there for, like, to use him as an example to say that, wow, that's, like, I can't believe, like, Ripley's Believe It or Not type stuff. So these people, guys, they're orchestrating everything. When they have a gun and they use their gun, they're orchestrating that. So all these gang shootings and stuff, you guys are seriously disenfranchising yourselves. Over here, the narrative here in this city is overwhelming that they want me to harm somebody or hurt somebody. It's especially with the narrative, or with whatever they make me have to think about, like cartel violence, like so now we're beginning to see very clearly how the United States of America is operating like a Gestapo cattle farm for humans through psychological manipulation. And then we walk ourselves to the slaughterhouse. Just like how I walk myself to the store to get a beer. Thank you for listening. I do not want that to happen. That's why I fight every day to explain and articulate what is going on. I want people to be able to go to the store, get a beer without, like, just because they need to understand that they are human. So that way they can overcome their problems. And know that it's okay to fail. You know, like it's okay to be wrong sometimes. Because that's what makes us human. But there are people that take that concept and they abuse it. And they fail on purpose. And that's what they're trying to blame me. I have to counter that narrative. I have to counter the narrative that by me not working out and being buff, like how they want me to be, that I have to tell them that that I'm onto something, you know? I have to tell them that I'm right. I have to prove to them that I'm not failing by choice. You see, there's something else going on that is not on the surface. And by working out and getting all those endorphins, it does not allow me to think clearly. It feels good. My body feels good, but I'm not thinking clearly. And at the end of the day, I'm just going to be dying a fit, buff, fit guy. And my mind's still going to be contemplating what I could have done. So that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I hold no regrets. And that's what kills my opposition. Because all his life, he's been working to make me regret. Ladies and gentlemen, I was about to go to bed, but I had to make this video. So, basically, just, I don't mean to look scary. You see how it looks scary right now? You have to understand that context matters. So, a lot of people will fool people by, just like how they did me, but with me, it was real. Cartel violence is real. Dismemberments, beheadings is real. And they push that very hard on me. And that's what I have to face, ladies and gentlemen. I have to undo whatever drama and story that they created that led to the CJNG. It led to unspeakable, ladies and gentlemen. So, another thing I want to clarify is what happened to my mother, that she is almost intolerable. Like, the way she speaks to me, sometimes I cannot take it, you know? She, it's like she frustrates me so much. Like she doesn't get any, I don't know. The same with my Aunt Gloria. So my mother was not like that, okay? My mother was a sharp as a tack. She had a size 4. She wore size 4 pants, you know, waist, and basically, my Aunt Gloria, she frustrates me so much as well. And all that is orchestrated by Malone Brown through the financial control systems, through fear, through, not fear, but through threats, coercion. So now that we're able to articulate it, what do you think he's going to do in this incorporated city of Elk Grove? What he's already doing today, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's hostage. The women, they get raped, but they don't call it that. They don't see rape anymore. They're just objects. You objectify them. They don't have a choice of who goes inside them or not. Even if they think they do, they were fooled, and then they're only to find out later on that who really was inside them. So it's extremely dangerous that we're in an incorporated city with this individual, because because like I said, the incorporated city has to work for every single person. So the benefits that I have are the benefits that he has, and he's gonna misuse. He has misused them. The privileges of like all these things, guys. My father, he frustrates me as well. So that's the thing, guys. Because I wasn't allowed to I never had that mental clarity that a lot of other students that I went to Monterey Trail High School with have. And so therefore to them, I am crazy. To them, I belong in an institution or something. But they don't know my background. They don't know my predisposition to cartel violence or how I look at relationships, or my rate of reproduction. They don't care about those things. They live off of a schedule. So they wake up, they know what they're going to do, and then they use AI to further that schedule, like to extend their time alive. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is extremely scary. And they want me to live like that. They want me to get buff and to go out there at night and play around in their little town. Ladies and gentlemen, do not take this as an insult. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen, and a lot of people do not want you to see reality. They just love to play with it. And I love to constantly figure out what's going on. Well, I can't do anything else, ladies and gentlemen. They sabotaged me so much financially and through my aunt. Like, they kept me here with my aunt so that way I would rot. So I would turn into a bad person, and then they could broadcast that to the world. They kept me with my aunt, who molests me, bending over in front of me at the wrong times, moving things in my room that drives me insane almost. And they force me to be with her because they have financial control over me. I can't afford to move out. I can't afford to socially program with these individuals who know that they know exactly what they are doing. They know they're doing wrong, and they do not want to change their thinking, or they do not want to they want to remain ignorant. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm outnumbered, I'm outnumbered in the sense, yeah, I'm outnumbered, but I'm still myself. See? And yeah, not everybody could be themselves, you know? And I'm explaining why that is. Because this is not a normal human condition. And it's almost like they want to, that is the plan. Like they want to take out all the animals and wildlife, and like the end of the movie Tenet, it looks like, you know? I'm extremely scared, ladies and gentlemen, of my neighbors. But because the city is incorporated, that's how we have to live every day, I guess. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is the fight for the world, ladies and gentlemen. It's a fight to save the world, and this is how it looks like. So I can't even imagine what had transpired for the city of Elk Grove to be established and then to be incorporated, for YouTube to be created, the platform, the internet. For people to be smart enough to build Monterey Trail High School how they did, like a like barracks. They didn't build up; they build barracks. You see, that's the one good thing. That the design of the school is very nice. Like that school was designed for a high degree of genuine education. You know, and yeah, ladies and gentlemen. So we're walking, like you have to be. People are mimicking things really, really good, and it looks like they're using CERN or AI or that CERN project to do that, to mimic reality. How do we get them to stop? How do we get them to reverse their course of action? This is the psychology of Manuel Moreno. And then you have Jaylen Brown, descendants and friends who are there, the ones that are going to stop them. But that's all set up. That's all a narrative. So the only hope we have is communication. Communication, togetherness, community, herd immunity. So we keep each other safe. That's the only way, ladies and gentlemen. That's the thing. But myself, there's no room for me in that. There was room, but it feels like I got kicked out. So I got kicked out because I'm still myself. I'm not going to change for them. You know, I'm going to be myself. And that goes to show you the value of identity, you know, the value of a name. I don't mind if I got kicked out of the club or whatever. I don't mind, because that's only that's only like a symptom. It's only an effect. Like, it's not what's really going on. That's only like words put to describe a feeling or a situation, but it's more than that. There's more things going on psychologically. So look at MLMs. Think about all the multi-level marketing companies, and like the families, right? And how there's supposed to be order, and like if people have like a meltdown or a breakdown, like people should right away go up and help them, you know? And I can't think of a time in my life where somebody was down and I didn't think of helping them get back up. And then again, guys, it's the people that are not taught to be good people, or you know, it's like I can't imagine. I can't imagine being around those people, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what I'm being forced to do. And my mother had to go through the same thing, being forced to deal with my Aunt Gloria and her mother, my grandmother, and now my father, you know. But now, ladies and gentlemen, now with technology and with advancements in human civilization, human species, we know about like we know the answers to fix all the problems in the world. But we have to you have to stay focused. We have to stay focused. And yeah, it's like everybody got together and I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, we dropped the ball, you know? It's like that's the feeling I get. But I'm still alive, ladies and gentlemen, so that's how you know that is false. So this incorporated city of Elk Grove, ladies and gentlemen, you have to make we have to make a world discovery. Somebody has to be overlooking what's going on and taking notes on what happened to my family and to the Jones family. If they don't already, like, you know, if they're not already on top of things, hopefully. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening.